Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Betting Fools podcast. I am your host, Alex Nevz, here to discuss the NFC North, who's going to finish last, third, second, and win the division at number one. So we'll do a quick rundown. I'm going to start with number 4, and it's the Chicago Bears at 3-14. Now, they have a great young nucleus in Justin Fields, a young tight end in Cole Kmet. He's only 22 years old. Very promising tight end, and a number 1 wide receiver, or at least developing into one, is Darnell Mooney. But the Bears are going to struggle with probably one of the worst offensive lines in the league, if not the worst. In their first 2 preseason games, Justin Fields is running for his life. The tape doesn't lie. This team is in full rebuild, I believe, but they do have a promising young quarterback in Justin Fields to build off of. And on the other side of the trenches, you do have Robert Quinn with 18.5 sacks last year. He is, the keystone, or shall I say, just the anchor to that defense. They do have a problem with Roquan Smith and his contract issue. He might be getting traded. Who knows? And a secondary that is very below average. So a long year for the Chicago Bears and a very well-improved NFC North. For my number 3 team, and my most interesting team in the league, is the Detroit Lions. And I do believe they are going to make the postseason. Now, everyone thinks that they are going to be a lot better this year. I think just last month in July, they were the most betted team to go over their win total at 6.5 wins. Not only that, I think they're going to go to 9 wins, finish 9-8, and make the postseason. When you have Jared Goff, although he's not a top-tier quarterback, he did finish with 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. You have Swift at the running back position, who is top 10 already. He has that potential to be top 5, and he's a good pass-catching running back. More weapons. You have TJ Hawkinson, who is a top 10 tight end, who can also elevate himself this year as well. So a lot of good pieces. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who just had a great rookie year. You have Jamison Williams, who they just drafted, who tore his ACL in Alabama. But if he can come back early, maybe make a splash, this team is ready to take the next step. They just drafted Aiden Hutchinson with the number 2 pick. Dan Campbell's built a culture that reminds me of the Bad Boys, the Detroit Piston Bad Boys. You think of Detroit, you think blue collar. Most analysts, most people don't think that Detroit is going to make the postseason but be better. I don't see why they can't. NFC is wide open this year. Although their division is improved, they have a very, very favorable schedule. So I'll dive into that on our next podcast, just talking about the Detroit Lions and how they can finish 9-8, if not better. I know it sounds crazy. Detroit has longed for a great season. You got to think back into the Barry Sanders days to really, truly appreciate Detroit Lions football. So I have them at number 3 in their division, going 9-8 and getting that 7 seed. Another playoff spot. They just changed that a couple years ago where it's 7 seed. So even a better chance for the Lions to finish 9-8, get back in. Now I get to my number 2 team, and that is at 11-6, the Green Bay Packers. Now, Rodgers lost Devontae Adams. They did draft a couple good wide receivers that seem to maybe be promising. Dobbs has really done well in preseason, has done well in camp. Recently, he's made a couple drops, but it's just kind of a learning curve. I feel like he's going to be okay. You do have Christian Watson out of North Dakota State, who we don't know what he is. He can be boom, he can be bust. But with Rodgers, I feel like you have the best chance to succeed. And I think that he will boom a little bit. I mean, there's going to be growing pains, but Packers as well have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to rely on. They do have a decent offensive line. And as well as in the defensive end, they're going to be top 5 defense. There's playmakers all around, a great secondary, Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, very good players on the defensive side. I feel like they're going to carry that team a lot more than the offense, which usually the offense does carry the Green Bay Packers. But at 11-6, it is kind of surprising. I don't think they're going to win the division, which leads me to my next team. And although I don't want to say this because one of my boys is a diehard Vikings fan, I'm going to pick Vikings to win, and they're going to win a tiebreaker. They're going to be 11-6. They get a new coach in Kevin O'Connell. They have Kirk Cousins, who finally gets an offensive-minded coach. He had 33 touchdowns and 7 picks last year. So, and that's with defensive-minded coach. So you get Kevin O'Connell. That comes from Sean McVay coaching system. who's just going to make that offense better. You have, like I said, playmakers everywhere. Dalvin Cook, top 5 running back. Justin Jefferson, top 5 wide receiver. Adam Thielen, who catches everything that's thrown them. He had 10 touchdowns last year and was still injured for part of the season. So a lot of upside. Irv Smith Jr. at tight end. He's going to make plays as well with Justin Jefferson getting all that attention, as well as Thielen. Play action is going to open up. And Vikings have great defensive players as well. Harrison Smith is still in the secondary. Daniel Hunter, is on the line. So you have good players, I feel like, on the defensive side and obviously on the offensive side. And Kevin O'Connell will be the X factor and take their team to another dimension. Tiebreaker, Vikings win that division. A lot of people are even more higher on them, but I'll take them 11-6, win the division, probably be a 3 seed, maybe a 4 seed, but it looks like a number 3 seed. And the Vikings are going to take off. They're going to be good, put up great numbers. Those are my predictions for the NFC North.